Hello everyone. If you watched my last videos, I showed you how to install Hyper-V Manager, and then we installed Ubuntu Linux, creating a virtual machine. Now, Hyper-V Manager is only supported on Windows 10 Pro and above, so Windows 10 Pro, Windows 8 and 8.1 Pro, Windows 10 Enterprise, Education, Server 2012, 2016, those are all support Hyper-V. But if you have Windows 10 Home, then you're going to want to install something called VirtualBox. Now, to install VirtualBox, you're going to want to go to virtualbox.org. Then you're going to want to click Downloads, and then Windows Hosts. That will start downloading it. Next thing you want to do is go to ubuntu.com and choose Download and Ubuntu Desktop 18.04 LTS. I already have mine downloaded, so now once that's download, you're going to install it like you would any other application. So choose Next, choose where you want it to install. I'm just going to leave it at the default C drive, then choose Next, install it. And then you're going to start it. Next thing you're going to want to do is choose New, and we're going to name this virtual machine Ubuntu Linux. Make sure that the type is Linux and the version is Ubuntu 64-bit. One thing I should mention about VirtualBox is that you have to have virtualization enabled in your BIOS. So if you're unsure if it's enabled, if you right-click on your task manager, you go to task manager and you choose CPU. Under performance, you'll see the virtualization. If it says enabled, then you're good to go. If it's disabled, then you need to go into your BIOS under your CPU features and enable virtualization and something called Virtualization VT-D. So once that's ready to go, make sure version is Ubuntu 64-bit, then choose Next. That's going to ask you how much RAM you want to use. If you're unsure how much RAM you want to use, then the same thing, you go to Performance under Memory. It'll tell you how much RAM you have. I have 32 gigs. So for the video, we're just going to use 6 gigs of RAM. Then choose Next. Then it's going to ask you to create a hard disk. Just click Create. Make sure you choose VT-D as the hard disk file type. Then choose Next. It's going to ask you if you want dynamically allocated or fixed disk. Now, dynamically allocated means that the hard drive will only use as much space that is needed. And if you choose fixed size, then if you choose, for example, 10 gigs as the hard drive size, it's going to use exactly 10 gigs. So to save hard drive space, we're just going to choose dynamically allocated. So we're just going to name this Ubuntu Linux VT-D. You can name it whatever you want. And I would say at least have 10 gigs, but I'm just going to choose 16 gigs. If you choose this little folder right here, this is going to choose where you want it to install to. So I'm going to save my hard drive on my G drive, and I already made a folder called Virtual Machines VT-D. So I'm just going to save it in there, and choose Create. So now we're going to want to go into our settings. And under System, we're going to want to choose Processor. So under Processor, it's going to ask you how much processors you want to use for the VM. I would just use 2. You can use as much as you want, but the more you use, the better performance the VM will have. But I'd say 2 is pretty good for what we're doing. And go under Storage. Right-click under Controller IDE, and right-click Add Optical Drive. Then choose Disk. Now this is where we're going to choose the ISO that we installed for Ubuntu before. So just choose where it's installed. Mine's installed in Downloads. And click Open. Next, click Network. Make sure under your adapter that Enable Network Adapter is checked. And it says Attached to Network Attached Storage. If you choose Advanced, make sure that your your card is set the way it's supposed to be, it's usually sets it correctly on its own, so just leave it the way it is. Click OK. So now choose your VM, then click Start. So just be patient, it might take a little bit to start up for the first time. It's just loading the ISO and all the files. When you get to the screen, just choose your language, then click Install Ubuntu. I'm just going to leave the default keyboard layout. Click Continue. Now it's going to ask you if you want a normal installation or a minimal installation. We only need a minimal installation. Normal installation will install a bunch of extra apps that we don't need. So we'll just choose minimal and click Continue. It's going to ask you if you want to erase the disk. So what this is going to do is going to erase the virtual hard disk that we created, so it's not going to affect any of your Windows OS hard drive. So just leave it as it is and click Install Now. And click Continue. Choose your location. And just fill out this information here. This is just for your log information. Click Continue. And we'll just let that install now. Alright, so once that's done installing, just choose Restart Now. Just press Enter. Oh. So now you're just going to want to click X at the top, just power off the machine. Go back into your settings and under storage, make sure that the IDE storage is empty. Looks like it did it on its own, so. And there you go. So now you successfully installed Ubuntu Linux onto a virtual machine using VirtualBox. Now if you check out my next videos, I show you how to configure a server for Conan Exiles. And I'm thinking of making a video pretty soon on how to configure a server for Ark Survival Evolved on Ubuntu. So thanks very much for watching, and if you have any questions at all, just please comment in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.